Alright guys, welcome to part 2 of the spring semester exam review video. This is going to cover all of topic 10. So if you need to see topics 8 and 9, please refer to part 1. If you need to see topics 11 or 7, please see the later parts of this video. Alright, looking at topic 10, we're going to start out with looking at a graph. So it says, what is the graph of y equals x minus 1 cubed minus 2? So let's recall our parent function is y equals x cubed. Okay, so looking here, we need to see what transformations we have going on in order to match the correct graph. So this minus 1 right here, that is telling us we're moving to the right 1 unit, because that is our h value. It's inside our parentheses. This minus 2 on the outside, that's a k value, so that's telling us we're going to move down 2. And now, on our parent function, remember our graph starts at 0, 0. So looking at all 4 of these graphs, let's make a point at 0, 0. And then from 0, 0, we want to pick the graph that is moving to the right 1 and down 2. So let's move to the right 1. And so I can already tell that this graph A is not going to work because that graph did not move to the right. So we can go ahead and eliminate A. Looking at C, moving to the right 1. C did not move right 1, so we can go ahead and eliminate C. Looking at D, we did move right 1, so we can hold on. B, it also moved right 1, so we're stuck between B and D. And then moving down 2, looking at D, that graph moved up 2, so it's not D. Looking at B, we move right 1, and, oh, excuse me. Sorry about that, folks. That pen had a moment there. And it moved down 2, so B is our answer. All right, y'all. Let's move on to numbers 11 and 12. So looking at 11, it says the graph represents 3 minus cube root of x plus 2. So that's what this graph is right here. You don't have to type it in the calculator. We already gave it to you. And it's saying, what is the domain and range of this function and its inverse? So before we stress about the inverse, let's look at the domain and range of, we'll call this f of x. All right, our original function f of x. Okay, so looking at the domain that's going from the left to the right, we can see their arrows are telling us we're not stopping in either direction. So our domain and range are all real numbers. Or our domain is all real numbers. Excuse me, I can't speak. All right, and now range, remember ranges are y values, so going up and down. So this, we're decreasing as we go this direction. So you notice, again, I have the arrow. So that tells me my range is also all real numbers. There is no limit on this graph at all. So remember, when we take the inverse, the domain and range switch. So we'll switch colors here. So the domain is going to become your range, and the range is going to become your domain. In this case, it doesn't make a darn bit of difference because they're both the same thing. Okay, so this trick didn't help us much on this problem because they're both the same thing, but keep this trick in mind because that may not work for every graph. And also this was for inverse. Okay. Now, looking at 12, it says to compare the graph below with the parent function, y equals cube root of x. This is a cube root graph. And it says to describe the transformations. So one thing we need to remember for our parent function, so for a cube root of x, we start at 0, 0. Okay? So I'm going to make a mark at 0, 0. And I'm going to see how this graph moved. Because as you can see, the middle of our graph, of this graph, is not 0, 0. So the middle of my graph is at this point right here. So to go from our parent function to the new starting point, I can see that I went down 1. So we're going to say it goes down 1. And then I can see I moved left 1, 2. So we moved left 2. Okay? So I can tell that's how my graph shifted. Now, Our first point to the right on our parent function is up 1 over 1, okay? So if this graph moves, so from our new starting point, if this graph moves up 1 over 1 to its next point, then I do not have a stretch, compression, or reflection. So let's see if it does that. So do I go up 1 over 1 to my next point? Yes, I do. So that means these are the only transformations that I have going on, okay? So again, remember 0, 0, and then up 1 and right 1. And use these 2 points of reference to figure out what your transformations are. Looking at 13 and 14, this is wrapping up topic 10. Excuse me. This one we are solving cube root of 3x minus 4 minus 2 equals 0. So this one's very similar to a problem you saw in topic 9. So first, we're going to add that 2 over to the other side. So we're going to have cube root of 3x minus 4 we equal 2. The opposite of a cube root is 2 cubed, so I'm going to cube both sides. Cancels out on this side. So we get 3x minus 4 equals 2 cubed is 8. And then I'm going to add 4 over. So we get 3x is equal to 12. Divide by 3, we get x equals 4. That is our answer. Looking at 14, it says, what is the inverse of y equals 1/2 x plus 4 cubed? So this is where you need to remember the steps to finding your inverse is to first switch x and y, and then solve for y. So right now, I have y equals 1/2 x plus 4 cubed. So when I rewrite this, I'm going to switch where x and y are written. So we're going to say x equals 1/2 of y plus 4 cubed. And now I'm going to solve for y. We're going to get it back to y equals. So I'm going to start by getting rid of this 1/2. The opposite of 1/2 is multiplying by 2. So we're going to multiply this side by 2 and this side by 2 to cancel those 2 out. So we get 2x is equal to y plus 4 cubed. The opposite of cubing is to take the cube root. And so on this side, those 2 cancel. And so we have cube root of 2x is equal to y plus 4. So I need to subtract that 4 over as my last step. And so we get y equals cube root of 2x minus 4. Now make sure this minus 4 is not inside your cube root. We took the cube root before we moved to the 4. So you need to make sure that you choose cube root of 2x minus 4. That minus 4 should not be inside your cube root. Make sure you make a note of that. That is going to conclude the part 2 of this video over topic 10. If you have any questions over this, please ask your teacher. Good luck. See you next time.